Can do that. Yeah, well, it's like two minutes to.
All right.
Oh, we are.
We are live.
Oh,
We're live. We just like to get going just.
Then it allows people to hang in.
And it takes, there's one time it took like 30 seconds for it to get going. So less than a minute and we'll start.
Oh, yeah.
What's it? I assume my name tag was security.
Yeah,
Why wasn't it
sorry.
switched? Put your name in upside down as a joke. It could be. Okay, let's get started. I'm calling the meeting February 26th of the Bold School District to order at 7:00 p.m. We have a quorum of 4 members and a new member that will be sworn in shortly tonight after we go through a few items. With that, I'm going to read our mission statement. That is to provide all learners in the Bold community an education designed to develop the creativity, character, confidence, and skills essential to flourish in a changing global society. So with that, I would ask everyone in the room to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, everyone. I'd like to recognize the approximate 20 individuals in the room tonight, as well as those online. Thank you for being active participants in the Bold School District and the school board meetings. So I appreciate that as board chair. With that, we will move on to item 5 on our, item 3, which is to approve our agenda. Is there a motion?
So move, Benson.
Is there a second? Second. Pepple. So it's been moved by member Benson and seconded by member Pepple to approve the agenda as printed in the board packet. Is there any discussion on the agenda or changes? Any discussion? Any discussion or changes? Okay, hearing none, we'll move to vote on that. So we would have 4 voting members on the agenda at this point. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries to approve the agenda as published. Okay, we will now go to item 5, and that would be for Mariella Klaus. Welcome. Congratulations. We're going to go through an acceptance of office statement and then an oath of office statement. So if you would please stand, and if you could read the acceptance of office.
I hereby accept the office of School Board Member of Independent School District Number 2534 for a term beginning February 26, 2024 and expiring the first Monday in January 2025.
Thank you. Could you now read the oath of office?
I swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and this state, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of School Board Member of Independent School District Number 2534 to the best of my judgment and ability.
With that, let's have a round of applause and welcome Mariella. Congratulations, Mariella.
Thank you.
We are going to now move on to our public forum. That's item 6. As we go into this, the public forum is meant as a listening time for the board, for district constituents to address the board. And the board does, pursuant to policy 206, section 6, potentially could limit discussion, but we're going to make every effort to allow those to speak. So could I have a show of hands on how many are wanting to speak tonight? So we have 2 individuals, or 3, I'm sorry. So, pardon me? Might be a fourth. Okay. Sue, so we'll have you come up to the seat and state your name and where you're from, and then please make your comments.
All right, thank you.
I'll readjust that mic. I thought there was staff.
Thank you. I'm Sue Hilgert, a longtime community member and of Olivia. And I'm here tonight. First of all, thank you very much for allowing me to come and speak. I'm speaking tonight about the swimming pool. And I'm not going to give you a big history. Everybody has gotten information from people, so you kind of know that. I would like to just review a few things and then see what we have kind of talked about as far as moving forward with this issue. First of all, the swimming pool is jointly owned by the school district and the city of Olivia, and it has been set up that way for 50 years. As I said, I'm not going to go into the history. I have three main points that I want to bring out tonight. First of all, the maintenance and the operation of this facility is jointly done. It is an amenity for our whole entire community, and it will always incur expenses. It will never be a money raiser. It's always going to be, in the red to a certain extent. Funds could be raised to help offset that a little bit if we would choose. And that brings me to my next point. Currently, the pool is overseen by a joint powers board with representation from the city council and from the school board and from the staff. There really isn't any community representation on that joint powers board. And so that's one of the things I'm presenting to you tonight, is to include a group from the community that would be of assistance in looking at different programming, fundraising, and trying to really expand the scope of the pool, and have that either be part of the joint powers board or an offshoot of it. I think it would be easier if it was part of that joint powers board for the transparency, because you have members from your organization that are on that, and the city does too. So we could keep that communication going. So, and that brings me to the final point, in the fact that I think what is really needed here is a commitment from the school board and from the city council that they are willing to give this an opportunity, that we are willing to proceed with this approach, give it the time that it's going to need to bring it up. I mean, the pool's been closed for 53 weeks, so we're just now getting it back up to speed. So I think that's one of our requests, is to move forward in that manner. So we don't have an organized group of supporters. We're all just from different aspects of it. We just all see that the pool is such an asset for a community. We want to give it our just due. It's valuable for the school. It's valuable for the community. And I think we need to explore the different options available to see if we can make this a success before we decide to just do anything else with it. So short and sweet. I usually had a tendency to talk too much. People were always telling me to shut up, so I'm just short and sweet tonight. So, I'm more than happy to answer questions. Anybody, we have lots of people that have expertise in stuff areas, and I'm sure everyone. So if there's anything else, but that's just my spiel.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Denise, would you like to go next, since you're in the front?
Well, my spiel is much
Oh,
like.
please state your name.
Oh, I'm Denise Petey from Olivia. I've lived here for 45 years, raised my kids here. They all use the pool, swim lessons, and I've been an avid swimmer on my own I took my first swim lessons at that pool at age 35 from Mariella to learn how to swim so I could do a triathlon. So we all have our reasons why we want to use the pool. I feel like it's really important for our kids to learn swim lessons. That's essential, that children should have swim lessons, and not all parents can afford it or bring them. So at school, in the school curriculum, I think that we all have our reasons, I see a lot of job opportunities for young people, lifeguarding, adults and kids, and WSI for swim instructions. There's just so few jobs really for kids to do that they can just work a couple hours here and there and be able to embrace employment. Improve mobility. I mean, I'm a nurse, worked for many years with people. They need that less weight-bearing mobility, exercise that could be utilized for that. And I think our physical therapy department at the hospital should and could, if we do like Sue said, make it more of a community base that more people will use it. It's a safe place for kids to go for open swim, and they will be able to be watched over if parents do want to drop them off or have them go somewhere safe because parents work all day. There's just so many reasons for that. Plus, and I think of it from the nursing point and from my aging, not elderly, point, aging. I want to be safe. Yeah, we're the same age. I want to be safe walking. The streets are slippery. The sidewalks are uneven. There's things that keep me from walking in the winter and wind chill. The pool, I can do all year round, and it's perfect. It's the greatest maintenance and increase your wellness if you'd like to for blood pressure, weight, all those reasons. It's going to require money. You know, everything does. Library doesn't make money. Football field doesn't make money. Track doesn't make money, but they cost money, like Sue said. This is part of maintaining a community. We can't bleed anything more out of our community. We all know how it's shrinking. We all know we don't have a movie theater. We don't have a bowling alley. We're losing things. We just can't lose this. I mean, 30 miles around, there's not, it's 30 miles either direction to go to another pool. And if people go to another pool for their swim lessons or their exercise, they're probably going to take some of their other resources elsewhere, buy their groceries or go for lunch and do other things, leaving our community. And we need the people and this tax base for our whole community. And like she said, it's 50 years old. For the last 50 years, there hasn't been quite all the maintenance that should be done. And like our church, St. Aloysius, for 50 years, they didn't do much, and we had to spend over $1 million to make it right. This generation is just going to have to help with fixing these things. I just so strongly believe that we can't lose one more thing out of our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Stratton. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to the board. I am a citizen of Olivia. We've lived here about 13, 14 years. I'm also the president of the Renville County Aquatic Club. I'm president of the board of directors. My family has been involved with the swim team for 8 of the 10 years that the swim team has been in service. All 3 of my kids have been on the team. 2 of them are currently involved with the team. It's really been neat to, if you go down to the pool right now, Tracy has put together a whole show of newspaper articles, Swimmer of the Month ads. It's been really neat to watch these kids start out as, very basic swimmers. They then become lifeguards. They take water safety instruction courses. They are junior coaches for our team. And my daughter is an example of that. And for those of you who know Ava, she's very accomplished, she's very talented, but she's also extremely shy. And being able to partake in some of those activities has given her skills that I don't think she would have gotten otherwise. She'll take those off to college, she'll take those out into the communities that, that she lives in the future. And I'm really proud of that. I think that building a community of confident and safety-minded people is, it's extremely important. And having a pool that we have access to year-round is a huge asset. There aren't many communities around here that can brag about that like we can. We offer swimming lessons, the migrant programs, summer rec programs, Phi-Ed classes. They all help support that safe and healthy lifestyle. I understand the wrestling team visited the pool the other day as part of their regular practice. That's awesome. We should have that all the time. The pool recently just opened up. Sunday, 70 plus swimmers were there enjoying open swim. It's amazing. That's great. That's community. And I just think of all the kids who were off of their electronic devices while they were there swimming. I'm a parent. I have kids that love those things, and I'm always looking for ways to get them disengaged from that. We have pool parties scheduled for this week already. There's, lap swim, water exercises. Those have all been going really strong. We've had a lot of interest in just a short time frame. And of course, the swim team is back up and running, and they're very excited to be back in the water. It's been a very, very long year for our group anticipating this. And I just really feel like the recent repairs that the pool has had, along with these fantastic renovations that we have to look forward to with Bold School, it's such an opportunity for the school board to offer some really amazing things for the community. So I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Julie, did you?
Do you have time?
Yes.
I'll be brief because these ladies said everything went well. I'm Julie Reamer. I've been here, I've been living for 25 years, have been using the pool for 25 years, both with my kids, everything from like infant and mommy and me classes all the way to them doing swimming lessons. And I'm a lap swimmer, not very accomplished as a lap swimmer, but I try nonetheless. Glad they have kickboards. Totally, I think Denise and Sue and Jennifer just really expressed very much really good key points. I also want to add in the point about our science classes utilizing the pool and how important that is, and how sad it was for my daughter Lucy not to be able to do the physics with floating the raft. I don't know if you knew that they did that, but so they float the raft and see which one is the winner, right? So it's just such a bummer she didn't get to do that last year, but so many great opportunities that I think our pool has done and continues to do. And I guess I'm just asking for you guys to just keep supporting it, keep investing, reinvest maybe. Maybe this is an opportunity that hey, this bad thing happened. How can we reinvest and make it even better than what it was? So thank you for your time, you guys.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak during the public forum? Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay, thank you. We're going to now move on to item 7. That would be approving our consent items on the agenda. So we need the one motion to approve our bills for payment, as well as to approve the minutes for enclosure number 1, which are the January 22nd, 2024 regular meeting minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by member Sheehan and seconded by member Peppel to approve the consent items. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion?
Do you have any questions on the bills or anything? Okay, just wanted to check on.
Okay. With that and no discussion or comments, we'll move to vote on the consent item. So all in favor of approving the 2 consent items, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Motion carries. Okay. We will now move on to section 8. We have 4 personnel items under that. The first would be to approve the resignation of Bailey Kubash, head girls volleyball coaching position, effective the end of the 2023 through 2024 school year. Is there a motion?
I will make the motion.
A second?
Second motion.
So it's been moved by member Sheehan and seconded by member Klaus to approve the resignation of Bailey Kubash, head girls volleyball coaching position, effective the end of the 2023 through 2024 school year. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Discussion? Okay, hearing none, we will move to vote. Since this is a resignation, we can do a general voice vote. All in favor, say aye to approve the resignation of Bailey Kubash.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries. Okay, second item under personnel, that would be to approve the resignation of Skylar Schmidt Redera as the National Honor Society advisor effective at the end of the 2023 through 2024 school year. Is there a motion?
So moved, Benson.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by member Benson and seconded by member Peppel to approve the resignation of Skylar Schmidt Redera as the NHS advisor effective at the end of the 2023 through 2024 school year. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Okay, hearing no discussion, we will now move to approve the resignation of Skylar Schmidt Redera. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries. Okay, the third item. So this would be to approve the hiring of Carrie Hadler, paraprofessional, starting February 1st, 2024. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved by member Peppel and seconded by member Benson to approve the hiring of Carrie Hadler, paraprofessional, starting February 1st, 2024. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? As this is a hiring decision, this will require a individual voice vote for approval. So we'll start with member Peppel. Do you approve the hiring of Carrie Hadler?
Yes.
Member Benson?
Aye.
Member Klaus?
Aye.
Member Sheehan?
Aye.
And I, member Frank, am an aye as well. So that motion carries unanimously to approve the hiring of Carrie Hadler, paraprofessional, starting February 1st, 2024. Okay, item number 4, that would be to approve the hiring of Desiree DeCaro, paraprofessional, starting February 21st, 2024. Is there a motion?
I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by member Klaus and, seconded by member Sheehan to approve the hiring of Desiree DeCaro, paraprofessional, starting February 21st, 2024. Is there any discussion? Discussion? Any discussion? Okay, hearing no discussion, we will move to approve the hiring of Desiree DeCaro, a paraprofessional, starting February 21st, 2024. This will be a voice vote again. So member Peppel, member Benson,
Aye.
member Klaus.
Aye.
Member Sheehan,
Aye.
and I, member Frank, am an aye as well. The motion carries unanimously to approve the hiring of Desiree DeCaro, paraprofessional, starting February 21st, 2024. Okay. We are now moving on to section 9, our reports, which I'm very happy to give me a break of speaking. Go ahead, Jim.
Indeed. Well, first of all, it is School Board Appreciation Month, and it's a tough job, and you guys deserve to be recognized for that. We'll have a little something going in the paper here on Thursday as a thank you to all of the hours that you put in. It's you take a lot of phone calls. There's a lot of weighty responsibilities you have. So thank you for your willingness to do that. The pool wall, I wanted to mention they've done and are doing some destructive testing on the pool wall just to make sure that when they start getting into it, they don't have any surprises. So if anybody sees anything, they're not doing construction on it. They're just doing some testing to make sure, like I say, that they don't start digging into it and find out that it's a mess. More of a mess than they thought, I should say. I put pool usage, but that was before I had Elizabeth Torkelson coming to do a presentation on the pool. So I'm going to skip over that. My two goals for the year, improving the website and the facilities management program, both of those are coming along nicely now. We've been working with a new website provider that I think is going to really make a huge impact on our website and how we do that. And it'll be very nice and clean looking. We've also been looking into a facilities management program think we've found something that we really like. It'll be very valuable in that we can keep an inventory in this and watch, like, everything we buy, every computer, every chair has a lifespan, of course. And so it'll make it so that we can put these things on a scheduled replacement cycle. And, you know, if we know that we're gonna have to replace a bunch of windows one year, we can plan for that. We can save for that. So that's on the macro end. On more of a micro end, we will be able to use this for maintenance requests. So if your teacher has a light out in their room, or it's 130 degrees in their room, or whatever it might be, they can put a maintenance request in, and there's not going to be any kind of, well, I've said it, I've told them 5 times that I need this fixed, and no, this is the first time I've heard of it. So it'll eliminate any of that. So we're excited about that. Last thing I have on here, and it'll probably come as a surprise. I got word this morning that Neil Koffenberg has taken a new job and is going to be working. I can't think of the name of the company, of course, right now. It's not in education. He's excited. It's more of an engineering position for him, and we're gonna really miss him here. But the service co-op, a lot of people don't understand that he doesn't work for the school district. He has always worked for the LCTN, and for the last school year here, he's been working for the Southwest Service Co-op. So they're working to find a replacement and make for a smooth transition. There's a lot of little moving parts that we are concerned about. There's our phone system is being switched over, and Neil's a big part of that. So a lot of things that are going on right now that we'll need to really focus on. But
Did you give 2 weeks, or do we know when he's gonna?
March 8th.
March 8th.
Full
Yep.
house.
Yep. So I did tell him I was going to be announcing this here tonight, but so I'm not spoiling his surprise.
Well, I know Neil's not an employee of the district, but we do appreciate the service he's given the district through the Southwest
Absolutely.
Cooperative.
Yeah. He's an extremely hard worker, and it's one of these people that, like, during COVID, when he was working from home, he was working from home. There was no doubt that, is he relaxing, watching TV? No, he's not. And he's a good guy, and we're gonna miss him.
But we appreciate everything you did.
Anything else, Jim?
Nope.
Okay, we'll move on to item B, our K through 12 report. I thought I saw Brett
He's right
in the back of the room. Yes.
They're gonna be leaving. Both Brett and Derek are here. They're gonna be leaving afterwards. They've got the big basketball game.
So I put on your spots. This is draft number 3. This is not final by any stretch of the imagination, but this is draft number 3. Right now, we're looking at starting 2 weeks early for remodeling starting next summer. So that is a big change on our calendar, which would move up our graduation date about 2 weeks. The other big thing on here would be right before our Christmas break, so December 20th, it would be a half student day, half PD day. And then May 16th, which right now on our calendar, this calendar, would be graduation day, would be a half student day, half PD day. I tried to color code it as best I could with the key on the bottom right here. I've got the middle school, high school days, teacher day, student days. I've got the elementary teacher day, student days. If you flip on the back, there's the PD days, just for counting purposes. 9 PD days throughout the year is what we need to get to fulfill our contract. So This is tentative. Take a look at it. If you guys have questions, please ask. Because it's draft number 3.
And this still has the snow days built into it as this past year's calendar did.
So unfortunately, right now, this does not, because we need to kind of get out of the buildings need to clear our rooms by May 20-ish. And this year it kind of fell in place with a late Easter. So we had a couple days around Easter. We could take April 21st, but we can't take April 18th. Can't take Good Friday. So that is a possible built-in snow day. But it's something we can continue to look at if that's. Unfortunately, the snow days happen usually after December and January, and there's not a whole lot of days between February and May that are off.
Yep. And then with the condensed spring.
Yep.
That
Yep.
confounds it. Yep.
Yep. So tentative, if you have questions, please ask.
So I would assume this is something no later than the April meeting and preferably the March meeting that we would want to.
I'm expecting it to be done by next meeting. Yep.
So, board, take time to review this thoroughly and let's work with administration so we can come back to the March meeting and make a decision on the 2024, 2025 calendar.
And we do have a spot on the agenda here to talk about the calendar a little bit if there are questions or suggestions. Item L.
Yeah. Gladly take them back to our calendar committee and talk through some things. So
So you have your personal development days, it's just 9 days, or is it so many hours in a year? They have
9 days.
9 days.
Yep. We have if you count our PLCs, our early outs, we would have a little bit more because we get out at 2 hours. So we'd get roughly 2 extra days with PLCs, but our PLCs this year for K6 are going to be strictly on the READ Act, which is coming down from the state. It's for 2025, it's implemented for K3. For 2027, 26 or 27, it's K12 for reading. So that's going to be a big focus on our elementary for sure. It's 100. If we go with the letters training, professional development training, which I think we're leaning towards, it's 144 hours for elementary staff. So we need the PLC time to do that. But it's also going to be a lot of our PD time for our elementary staff with letters training. So that will be get up and going next school year is our letters training for our elementary staff. I did highlight we had a good percentage of our high school staff, students, 64%, I believe, off the top of my head, were A and B honor roll. That's a bigger number for us, so it was great to see. We just celebrated the 100th day of school, and you should see Mr. Menton's face as Mrs. Baumgartner walked in, dressed to in her 100th day of school outfit.
The 100-year-old teacher.
Yep.
Yeah.
Didn't quite didn't recognize who she was. So that was an interesting one. We've got our state testing coming up. That's going to be a big thing coming up as Mr. Menton just mentioned. Mr. Kofflenberg leaving here. He's our tech guy. That's going to be an interesting time for us. We got to get something in place there. It's a busy time of the year. So it's busy time. If you guys have questions, please feel free to ask. I think there was a question on the number of students, the enrollment from which month was it? What was the bigger drop?
January.
Okay.
Or the big drop would have been
December to January.
December to January.
Mhm.
So I didn't understand that as well. So I went and asked Nancy. So last year we had that drop from November to December. This year we had the drop from December to January. That is part of our population, our migrant population. So we carry students for 15 days after we get notice that they are leaving. That's just state protocol. We can carry them up to 15 days. So by the time I look at the numbers, and then by the time the next month rolls around, they're off our books per se. So that is a majority of that number. That's 15, I believe. And then I think there was a 21. It was a 21 or 20. The number was it 21 students, 24 students,
It was 20.
23. Then the others, we had a couple families go back to their district that they open enrolled from. We had a couple that moved down to Florida, which last summer or last winter I would have loved to move down to Florida. This summer or this winter, I can deal with this. So that's kind of that discrepancy. Because I went back, it's 3 years. In my 3 years of doing this, it's usually that once the snow flies is when we see that drop. So
I got a quick question. How does that work for the funds that we get from the state? So we get funds for each student
Yep.
from the state.
Yep.
And say that child moves from here, moves elsewhere. Does that money follow them then? So we have to, wherever they go, we send that, or we send that back to the state?
If
Or
it's
how does
in
that?
the state, yeah. If it's out of state, then
We
Then-
don't send the money,
No.
so we get paid throughout the year.
Yeah.
Oh, per month or something? Or,
it's whenever the
Yeah.
reports are run.
It's a big part of what Nancy
Yeah.
Yankee does is keeping track. It's called MARS,
yeah,
and that stands for something.
Uh,
Nobody knows what
no.
it stands for. And
I knew what I did. Change that.
I look it up and I'm like, oh yeah. And then, but each student has a MARS number, and that's used to track them as they move around. If they leave the state and they come back, they still have the same MARS number. So,
okay.
and they track every day that they are in school. And that's how we get our
Okay.
funding.
So we don't have to send that money back to the state, or
No.
we just, they give it to us monthly, on a monthly basis for how many
Not quite
students,
monthly.
or how does?
Nobody knows. It's school of finance. It's not monthly. It's
Twice a month? Okay,
We have two big reports. One's right in that November, December timeframe, and then one's at the end of the year.
And then the other part, I believe, Sandy, is they pay on the per pupil unit, not on the student
Correct.
directly.
Yeah, that's a good
So
point.
that's the other confounding factor.
right, which makes sense, but when you go up and down here, I just was
Those
trying to
are
figure out
actually-
how those numbers, do we have to pay somebody back for that, or do we get it on a basis after the fact then? After they've been here?
Sometimes you do it if the MARS coordinator makes a mistake. Let's say let's say somebody transferred out, but they didn't get that in there on time. Yeah, we would end up having to move money.
Right,
Or sometimes we've found that we've had maybe a student who transferred here that was special ed and we didn't know it. And we would have gotten so much more money if we would have known it. Well, the state will give us that money once we figure out that there was an error. So
Okay.
it's a complicated beast.
okay,
Yep.
just wondering.
Any other questions for Brett?
I just wanted to make a comment on the letters training. I've been through that training 2 years ago. It is invaluable for elementary teachers. It is very intensive. And when he says it's going to take all that PD time, it will. It's intensive, but the outcomes, if you're using that program, from what I've seen, are phenomenal for our students.
That's what we've heard that there's some districts in our area that have already been through that training or have some of them through that training. So yeah, that's what we're leaning towards. So I think it'll be a good thing for us.
Anything else? Okay,
Thank
Brett,
you.
we'll let you go. Let's move on to see our activities report. I believe Derek is here.
Yes, I am.
Am I supposed to, is there questions?
I
or-
just didn't know if there'd be questions here. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So everyone read the report. Are there any questions for Derek?
What's the score?
It was 18 to 14 when I left, or the last text I got actually.
For winning?
Yes.
I've got one on here for the Solom Field. What was the name of our field before? We didn't have one. So this is something we just,
This is something that I came up with. I've talked to a few people in the community. It seems to have support from everyone I've talked to at this point. It's been in the works. I think it was probably Mr. Bransoy when this was first brought up. But the idea of naming the field would require basically signage out there, which there's not been really funds for. Now that we're looking at updating the scoreboard out there, now there's a time to do that without real additional cost, because it's just a name painted on the top of the board. So it doesn't add any cost to some of the things we're looking at doing coming up.
well, I realize Mr. Solom has been a big part of this school, and I mean, he's amazing. But what I'm afraid of is if we do that, then are we going to start naming our gyms for different coaches, or a wrestling room after Mr. Grokey? You know, if you start something in one spot, then it could kind of trail on to other things where,
I think Derek recognizes that the board needs to approve this at some point and moving forward, Sandy.
okay,
It's not gonna, it needs to be done through the board.
okay. Okay,
So this is a recommendation at this point for the.
well, it doesn't say recommendation on there.
Correct. It doesn't.
It says kind of like we're doing this,
Yeah.
so,
And honestly, in previous discussions that I've had with our admin, I've not been told we needed board approval. So that's why it's worded like that.
Sure.
Otherwise, it would have been.
I did like the idea of that digital trophy case to really showcase
Yeah.
the history of
mhm.
the multiple trophies that are throughout the building.
Yep.
So that you can see them.
Yeah, and it'll make the
Trophies.
efficiency of viewing them much easier, and it'll allow us to put a full display in both buildings that'll have the identical website it's connected to. So it really limits the space we need to display stuff. And I think the last count I had was 600 trophies that I found. Some of them are in trophy cases. There's 2 cupboards full in my office in the back that we just don't have anywhere to put. It allows us to do all of our annuals, our yearbooks going back. It would have a bold component along with the Olivia Wildcats and a Bird Island Lake Lillian Panthers component. So people from the previous districts could go in and locate those old trophies, annuals. They think it'll be searchable by name eventually. They said they're not quite there yet, but I've seen a few of them. There's one in Redwood. There's one in Morris. I was just in Sartell this weekend. They had one. They're becoming more and more common because space is so limited.
And you can even look these then up on your phone or on a computer at
Yeah.
home. And it almost becomes a yearbook, a century book, almost. It's neat. You can put videos in there. Things like when a record's broken on a record board, you typically take that old one out and put the new one in. Well, this makes it easy to keep all the records in there. The yearbooks, I'm really excited about the yearbooks because we've got yearbooks going back to early 1900s. So a neat way to get those out there and allow people to keep talking about their relatives.
And the vision I have, and obviously there's still a lot with design, but we would still try to keep a couple of trophy cases there for state tournament trophies, and then one for essentially our more recent trophies, the physical trophy for the last few years. We would have another case for that one as well. So we would still have some of the traditional trophy cases, but this would allow everything to be there without our current look where they're kind of spread all over the building right now, all over 2 buildings.
Is there a thought of how the data is getting into that program?
Work in progress.
Yeah.
Essentially, we have to photo or scan everything we have and upload. So It's gonna take some man hours. We're working on how it's gonna get done. I think I had figured if we can do a trophy in 5 minutes, from taking it down, setting it, filming, or taking the shot, storing that or uploading it correctly, and then putting the trophy wherever we want to go. If we can do that for one trophy in 5 minutes, it's about a week and a half of full time.
Is that with breaks?
That's
Nope.
just the.
That's just the trophies, yes. We can send the annuals into them and they'll scan them for about $20 an annual, and they'll scan them in. So I would anticipate that route, just because from a cost-effective standpoint, by the time you do that yourself and pay someone to do it, you're going to spend that anyway.
All right, anything else on the activities report?
No.
Derek here will try to get him out so he can go back to the game.
It was 23-20 at halftime. I just got that.
Anything on the community ed report? Okay, Derek, thank you.
Have a good evening, Derek.
Okay, let's move on to item E, our pool report. Tracy.
I don't have much more than what's in there. Other than we had an open house last night. Excuse me. And we also had 72 adults and kids at our first open swim since we were closed down. We have more on the schedule. I'm continuing to work on the schedule. Excuse me. And we do have a tentative schedule for 5th and 6th graders coming up in March. I don't think I'm gonna last much longer. We hope to have more classes on and available as soon as I get more staff. So one of my classes in March is to actually add more staff. And hopefully have kids sign up. I just posted that today and sent it out to all the classes. So hopefully I get some interest. Currently, I have 5 employees and they have limitations and schedules, and they're all teenagers except for myself and my daughter. So anything else short and sweet?
Anything else for Tracy?
Otherwise, she'll have a report that I can answer questions.
Thanks.
Thank you, Tracy. Okay, let's move on to part F, our facilities report. Any questions on the facilities report? Benny? Any questions? Any questions? Okay. Hearing none, then we will move on to the school board committee reports. And so, Elizabeth, would you come forward for the pool
I
presentation?
wasn't aware that everyone just stands to talk. Let me get water. It seems everyone
You're welcome to
While we're up.
sit if you'd like.
Oh, no, I can stand. I can go with the flow.
We've got a microphone right over here. Oh, you can, if you want to go there, maybe push that microphone.
I'm very loud. I've never been accused of being quiet when I present, so.
All right, perfect.
Awesome. So I think I know most of you. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Elizabeth Torgelson. I am the new city administrator for the city of Olivia. I just celebrated my 6th month and I'm officially off probation. So I'm delighted to join you all tonight. I was also very excited to be at the pool on Sunday. It was my first time seeing it looking like a pool with pool colored water. It was a very exciting moment. So I wanted to start the presentation. Sue made an excellent comment about the history of the pool. So being a former history major, I thought what better way to start with the pool than a timeline. So, and forgive me for those of you who probably know this subject a little bit better than I do because you have lived it for at least 30 years. So we started in 1955 where the city, the village of Olivia Minutes, talk about a group from Civic and Commerce that requested the council to consider the construction of a swimming pool in the village. The pool started with a donation of $50,000 by the Jacobson family to initiate the swimming pool fund in 1972. 1973 was the first known pool agreement between the city and school, kind of governing the operation, financial, and support of the jointly owned community pool. You have the first city payment to the school of a little over $19,000 to fund the swimming pool construction. In 1977, you have the proposed joint agreement with school board governing the city community education program, which also oversaw the pool. Then you have a couple of different kind of joint agreements. In 1982, a resolution adopting administrative policies and safety regulations for the pool. 1983 modified the 1973 agreement. 1986 went and modified the 1983 agreement. Interestingly enough, so in 1988, the city voted to relinquish the city's ownership of the swimming pool effective January 1990. The school said, no, thank you. And the city wanted to terminate the ownership interest, but still contribute financially. And the school board was really only interested in moving forward as joint owners and partners. So that was a little bit of interesting history I found in the city minutes. We have Olivia and BILL become Bold School District in 1990. We, in 1994, modified and amended the 1986 pool agreement. In 2002, we finalized a major repiping at the swimming pool. So that's when a lot of the cast iron pipes were finally removed and updated with PVC, correct? Excellent. I read those purchase orders correctly. 2016, we have a new joint powers agreement that really created this JPA board. 2016 is also where our current pool coordinator was hired. And then in 2019, we updated the Olivia swimming pool joint powers agreement, moving to the 2020s. So 2020 is when the city took on 100% of the pool costs to help out the school. And then the following year in 2021, Bold started contributing about 25% of the pool costs. And then in 2022, Bold resumed paying 50% of the pool costs to be the equal partnership with the city. As 2023, as you were all aware, there was an electrical fire in the pool. And I'm hopefully being optimistic that Bold School construction begins in this year. I don't sit on your facilities meeting, but wanted to end that with an optimistic note. So a little bit about the finances of the pool. This is, again, more from the city perspective, because that is where I am presenting from. So right now, for the city's portion, the City of Olivia pool budget is 2% of the city's general fund budget. And the pool budget is about 13% of the park budget for the city. So the city has really looked at the pool as kind of a park. Yes, it's inside four walls, but it's a similar amenity as a park that you provide in a city. So a little bit about some revenue versus expenses. So tracking throughout the years, this bottom line is what the pool has brought in, and this is separate from the city and school contribution. And then this is the expense. So the city and the school contribute to make up that difference. But this is what it brings in through lessons, rentals, and different programming. This is a graph of just the City of Olivia pool expenses. So what the city has contributed starting from 2005. So you can see kind of where it's gone down and where it's gone up through the years. Obviously in 2020, it did that major jump when it started covering 100% of the costs. So a little bit about the current fee schedule for programs and rentals. You can see here the fees that are currently in existence for open swim, family swim, pool rentals are on the side. So you can kind of get a different feel of the revenue structure for the pool. You also have what's being charged for lessons. And then what's being charged for training. So lifeguard, certification, water safety instructor training. The programming that's offered at the pool, you have swimming lessons, morning swim, evening lap swim, water exercise classes, family swimming, open swimming, and of course, pool rentals for birthday parties, for the aquatic club, different areas. Previously, there were high school swim teams in the 70s and 80s. Later on, there was a Girl Scout swim. And then most recently, there was 4-H swim. They haven't come back yet, but perhaps they will. Current programming, we have programming for 5th through 9th grade. With the PE teacher. We have, of course, the Orcas. They've been a club for 10 years and are currently still using the pool. And then lifeguard training, lifeguarding review, water safety instructor, American Red Cross programs. Here are just some statistics that Tracy provided. So you can see kind of attendance with different swim lessons throughout the years and their different categories. I'm not going to read off numbers. You can all read numbers. Just kind of showing the different graph of information about attendance. What's really exciting is, of course, attendance has been going up in the past couple of years before the fire, after, of course, the COVID drop of 2020. Different swimming programs, so the open swim, family swim, water exercise. We also have different numbers of participants throughout the years. And you can again see a nice healthy increase once we recovered from COVID. Of course, what probably a lot of people are interested in, so the city did put out a survey on Facebook. The survey questions were developed by the JPA. It was created using a Google form, and it was advertised on the city's Facebook page. So when we see these results, I'd like to couch this in it is an internet survey. So we did not go door to door to every single resident of Olivia. We did not go door to door to every single resident of Bold. So of course, these surveys, there are limitations, but I think it's a nice kind of snapshot. So the question first is, of course, where are you from? Are you an Olivia resident, a Bold resident, a Renville County resident? Perhaps some of you saw the survey, perhaps some of you took it. So we have 308 responses at the time that these results were pulled. Here are some of the other categories. Again, whenever you give people an other category, you get some interesting write-ins. We have a local realtor who chose to identify themselves, frequent visitors, somebody who identified themselves as having swam in the pool. So, breaking it down very closely to, most importantly, probably your constituencies. So current Bold School residents and current resident of Olivia. This is kind of the breakdown of our responses at the moment. We had just a general question in the survey of if people knew what type of programming was offered. You can see most people do know the type of programming the pool does. Another question, of course, that we did is the pool costs the city of Olivia about $40,000 to operate. In the future, the annual cost could be up to $100,000. Where we got this is we're trying to figure out how much the city will have to pay every single year if we were to take on the $750,000, which is our current half of the commitment for the pool renovations. Our finance director ran some numbers, and that was about a $60,000 bond payment. So we had the $60,000 bond payment to our $40,000 operating costs, which is where we got that $100,000 number. So the first breakdown, again, overwhelmingly positive. And then the Olivia and Bold breakdown, you have 74% who say yes, still support it with this increase. 12% are indifferent, and 13, round up 14, say no.
And that's, I'm sorry, and that's spread out over 20 years?
The 60,000 bond payment is spread out over 20 years because it would be a 20-year bond.
20-year bond.
Yes, on the city side. You will finance differently, as Jim said. But that's on the city side. It would be 60,000 for 20 years. We also asked the question in the next year, how likely are you on a scale from 1 to 10 to use the pool? So here's where you get the breakdown from the 308 responses. And then the next slide, you'll see the breakdown for just the Olivia and Bold breakdown here. Programming ideas. What is really wonderful about this open question is out of the 308 overall responses, 220 of the survey respondents contributed with programming ideas. I wasn't going to put 220 responses here. If you would like access to all of them, happy to share those with you. But I just wanted to take a highlight here. Some of them talked about more opportunities, so additional lap swim fitness classes, therapy, swimming lessons. They highlight a movie night, making sure we're part of this pool is part of the Bold curriculum. Rental rates to be fair for all users. They talk about a great asset. Longer swim hours, more swim hours was a frequent pool programming comment. Again, more open time for parents to bring the kids after work. We also have opportunities for special needs, which I thought was a really great out of the box thinking suggestion about how to program with those kids in mind. Classes for kids outside of the Bold School District. So I know we're focusing on Bold, but we are part of the wider Renville community and to do some outreach across the county-wide. Lessons, parties, part of gym class, used for athletes, more kid-friendly, better hours of operation. They would like to see the pool open more hours, 7 days a week. And then one person talked about, public to use at will, no lifeguard at your own risk type of thing, FIAD classes, wellness programming, for area employers to offer to their employees. I just wanted to highlight 3 community comments that were also included in here. So the first one is the pool must stay open. We live in the land of 10,000 lakes. We need to teach our children to swim and enjoy the water. An indoor pool provides service 12 months a year. Swimming is a skill that lasts a lifetime and is beneficial for all ages and ability. Another person says, please close the pool. The use this pool gets does not justify the expense, especially not to the school. The city should look to add an outdoor pool in the summer or put a pool at the community center they are looking to build. We do not need a pool this size. This square footage could be used to expand the school's functionality. And then another comment I pulled out is some of us have a wellness plan and the pool is part of that. Year-round exercise opportunity without the fall risks from uneven sidewalks, ice streets and sidewalks, distracted driver accidents that include pedestrians being injured. We have to put in new streets from time to time. That's a cost money with no return. We build playgrounds and tennis courts, cost money with no return. Our city does not have a movie theater, bowling alley. So it keeps going with that, reasons for our grown kids to want to spend time here more than the fact that we live here. So again, these are just a sample of comments that I pulled out. And so I'll talk really fast, but are there any questions that either myself, Tracy, or Jim can answer for you all?
Very impressive. Nice presentation.
Thank you. Okay. Well, most of the people, except maybe you, all have my email address, but feel free to share if you need to reach out. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other school board committee reports? Any other school board committee reports? Okay. Hearing none, we're going to move on now to new business. So the first item would be a motion for Hometown Bank to approve signatories and account access to Todd Frank School Board, Greg Peppel School Board, Sandy Benson School Board, and James Menton Superintendent as signatories, and Amy Schmidt Business Manager as transfer/wire authority. Checks must contain 3 signatures. This supersedes the minutes from the January 3rd, 2024 meeting. Is there a motion as such?
I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
So it's been moved by member Klaus and seconded by member Peppel to move forward with Hometown Bank to approve signatories and account access to Todd Frank School Board, Greg Peppel School Board, Sandy Benson School Board, and James Menton Superintendent as signatories, and Amy Schmidt Business Manager as transfer/wire authority. The checks must contain 3 signatures, and this will supersede the minutes from the January 3rd, 2024 meeting. Any discussion? Any discussion? I'll point out the reason this is on the agenda is it's needed for clarification so that Hometown has proper knowledge of how we're going to use the account and who's authorized, where the January 3rd didn't give that complete clarification to them. Any other discussion? Okay. Hearing no more discussion or questions, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor of item A, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Motion carries to approve item A. Okay, second item, that it's going to be a similar type of thing. This would be to allow Amy Schmidt, Business Manager, to set up a separate account at Hometown Bank for referendum money. This account will be used to make payments to vendors throughout the construction process. This account would approve the approved signatories and account access to Todd Frank School Board, Greg Peppel School Board, Sandy Benson School Board, and James Menton Superintendent as signatories, and Amy Schmidt Business Manager as transfer/wire authorities, and checks must contain 3 signatures. Is there a motion?
So move.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
So it's been moved by member Sheehan and seconded by member Klaus to move forward with item B, that motion. Is there any discussion?
One of the things this helps us out with considerably is we have to keep track of all of the interest separately from all of the other accounts. So this will make that far easier.
Any other questions or comments on this business item? Any other comments or questions? Any comments, questions? Okay, we will proceed to vote on item B, which is to allow Amy Schmidt, business manager, to set up a separate account at Hometown Bank for referendum money. This account will be used to make payments to vendors throughout the construction process, approve signatories and account access to Todd Frank School Board, Greg Pepples School Board, Sandy Benson School Board, and James Menton Superintendent as signatories, and Amy Schmidt, business manager, as transfer/wire authority. And the checks must contain 3 signatures. So we're going to vote on this motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries. All right. Item C, that would be our third and final reading of policy number 506, student discipline. This was tabled from the January 22nd, 2024 meeting. It's enclosure 7. Is there a motion?
So move, Benson.
Is there a second? Moved by member Benson and seconded by member Sheehan to approve the third and final reading of policy 506, student discipline. That was tabled from the January 22nd, 2024 meeting. As printed in the board packet. I'm going to state that, so I'm not going to read the entire policy. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? I'll just bring up that member Bowen and myself on the policy committee spent time reviewing this and working with Jim and Brett to ensure we had it filled out, because there are some sections that are specific to our district based on the model policy. And so that was done, and it's been included in what you're looking at tonight. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing no more discussion, we'll proceed to vote on the policy 506, the student discipline. That was tabled from the January 22nd, 2024 meeting as published in our packet. Let me think. Policies, is that a individual vote? I'm trying to remember. No, that's just a,
We've not done a roll
it's
call.
just a general vote. So, all members in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries to pass policy 506 as published in the board packet. Okay, next item on the agenda. That would be the third and final reading of policy 503, student attendance. This is enclosure number 8. Is there a motion? Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved by member Peppel and seconded by member Benson to approve policy 503, student attendance as published in the board packet. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Okay. Hearing no more discussion, we'll proceed to vote on approving policy 503, student attendance as published in the board packet. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries. Okay, let's now move on to item E. That would be our second reading of policy 101, legal status of the school district. This is enclosure number 9 in the packet. This policy we're not voting on tonight. It would be up for approval at our March 25th meeting. So any questions on the policy? Okay, if you do have any questions, you can, or things you find on it, please bring those up at least a week before the next meeting to either Jim or myself or member Bowen, if we're on the policy committee, and we'll get that, the edits made or potential changes, and we'll have it for the March meeting. Okay, we'll move on now to item F. That would be our second reading of policy 102, the equal educational opportunity. policy, and that is item or enclosure number 10 in our packet. Same thing, not approving this tonight. This would be our second reading for ourselves to look at as well as the community. And this would be up for approval at the March 25th regular board meeting. If you find anything on it, you can make suggestions to Jim, Member Bowen, or myself as policy committee members, and we'll look at that and bring it to the March meeting with a final review. Okay. All right. Then we'll move on to item G. That's enclosure 11. This would be our first reading of policy 521, the student disability non-discrimination. And this is brought up because it's referenced in several other, or one of the other policies, and it had been quite a while since we had last reviewed it. And there's some significant changes to it, especially in regards to some state law changes in the past year and a half. So take a look at that, and this would come for 2 more meetings yet. Okay. Any questions on that or concerns? Okay. Then let's move on to item H. That would be our first reading of policy 522. That would be the Title IX sex non-discrimination policy, which is the grievance procedure and process. That is enclosure number 12 in the packet. So again, that's a little bit longer policy. First reading of it. Look it over and suggest any changes to Member Bowen or myself or to Jim, and we'll get that updated. Okay. And we're looking at 2 more meetings away before it would be a final reading. Okay, we're ready to move on. Okay, we will move on. Item I, that would be approve moving the May school board meeting from the 4th Monday to the 3rd Monday, May 20th, 2024 at 7:00 p.m. due to the Memorial Day holiday. Is there a motion?
I so move.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved by Member Klaus and seconded by Member Peppel to approve moving the May Bold School Board regular meeting from the 4th Monday to the 3rd Monday, May 20th, 2024 at 7:00 p.m. due to the Memorial Day holiday. Any discussion? Any discussion? Okay. Assuming we vote to approve this, please make all your calendars adjusted that with this change. So, okay, let's then move to vote on this as there's no discussion. All in favor of moving the May school board meeting from the 4th Monday to the 3rd Monday, May 20th, 2024 at 7:00 p.m. due to the Memorial Day holiday, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries. All right. Item J. So we're gonna make this our discussion point time now for the financial support of the pool. So we heard earlier tonight from several individuals in the open forum. Elizabeth did a presentation. I suspect, like myself, each of you have received multiple communications from members in the community on this. So who would like to go first in discussion?
I would start. There is a consensus amongst many of the people here and emails that I've received that the pool is an asset, not just to our Bold community or our Olivia community, but to a greater community outside our county. And very much so, I'm speaking from being a pool employee for approximately 30 years. That pool is an asset that can be marketed to all ages. And if it's done at a reasonable price, it allows families to partake of an exercise and a fun family activity. It can be accessed by anyone. I think the physical benefits, the mental benefits, the mental health benefits that you get from it are unprecedented if you take full advantage of those opportunities. I think the part that I see being out of that pool realm in the last 10 years is that I have no clue what's going on. It's very difficult to find out what's being offered, what's the cost, what time is it, where is it? And I think that's a marketing flaw that we have. I personally would like to see the pool continue to exist as an amenity to our community. We don't need to lose more things in our community.
I agree. I totally agree. You have so many parents and families that go to the lake in the summer, and these kids need to learn to swim. And where do they get the swimming lessons? At the pool. I mean, to me, that's a big deal. That is. And for the kids to be able to take the classes at school, swimming classes. I mean, the community can use it for, going in the mornings. There's a lot of people that go in the morning. I didn't realize till I went there the other morning. I was like, wow, there's a lot of people here. Get up at 5:15 in the morning just to swim.
It's a beautiful time of day. You get to start your day. There's no better way to start your day.
I'm going to work and they're all swimming. But no, I mean, it's amazing and it's really used, it's beneficial. And I think we need to support it.
I think another part of that is you said people go to the lakes on the weekend. There are people that don't go to the lakes that want to
Right.
access the pool
Absolutely.
with family visiting or their own kids, and you can't go because the pool's not open.
Well, there's kids in town that they don't have anything to do in the summer. Like, you're right. You have families that are very fortunate, get to go to the lake and spend the weekend at the lake. And there's some that aren't, that sit in town, and what are they going to do? They have to find something to do. They either get in trouble or, if we have that open and it's affordable for them, I think we'd have more kids going. Keeps them busy. Keeps them off the electronics.
Okay, I'm gonna bring a different side to this. And I've been kicking this around for a long time. And being a school board member, so I'm looking at it at the school side. And I just have a hard time seeing what the school gets in return for the cost of using for the pool, supporting the pool. I mean, I know the community uses the pool a lot, and that's fantastic. Everybody uses it. But on the school side, I talked to 3 of my kids that went to bowl. 2 of them that graduated. One of them, I hope, graduates this spring. But they used the pool 2 times in high school. So I don't know I know it gets used in elementary, but even talking with some of I'll leave it at that. But I know we need to fix that outside wall, and I'd be in favor of doing that. The pool works now. The pool is operational as it is. So maybe leaving it as now and somehow waiting until our referendum building remodel is done, the project is done, to see if we're on budget. I don't want to go over, we dedicated $39.5 million for the facilities, and all of a sudden, we got to eliminate this, we got to eliminate that because we're over budget. So maybe we just wait because the pool is operational the way it is now, and let's just see until after the facility's done and then go from there. Then we can decide. That's just my point of view.
But that's the problem we've been doing all these years is let's let it go. Oh, it can wait. It can wait. It can wait. Oh, let's let it go. It can wait. Look at what we've got now. We've got something that's really going to cost us a lot of money. No different than when we let the roofs go. And now we have to really fix them. So when you don't stay on your maintenance, you're going to have more problems. It's like running a car. If you don't do your maintenance on the car, it's going to stop. Kind of like, something bigger could happen in the pool right now than what already did. The motors are fixed and some of those things, but there's other things that did not get fixed in that fire. And if we don't keep up the maintenance on it and support that, we're going to be right back to square one and we're going to have issues. That's just my thoughts, but I'm only one.
Okay, thank you, Greg.
I guess I would just like to see, I am supporting, from my perspective, the pool is a great resource to have in the local community. I do struggle a little bit from the cost standpoint from the school, but yet From a community standpoint, it's a wonderful resource to have. My kids grew up in a community where they had access to a pool. It was an outdoor pool, not an indoor, but they absolutely lived that in the summertime. It was a wonderful resource to have for them. And if I asked any one of my children, they'd say they loved it. Now, since we moved here, my kids have hardly utilized, I don't know if any of them have really utilized the pool very much in this community. Granted, it's an indoor versus an outdoor pool. That's a whole different topic. But it's just the visibility of what's going on and what the accessibility is kind of my concern a little bit on the, just from the aspect of knowing what's there, knowing when you can access it, just like Mary Ella mentioned. I guess that's kind of where I'm coming from.
Okay. I'll give my input on this as well. So when you look at putting money towards something, everything has an opportunity cost, okay? If you're not spending your dollar on item X, you're gonna spend it on item Y or do something else with it, right? And I look at our spending on the pool as a critical asset for the school. So I do see where the school does get a lot of use out of it. I see where it's embedded with, as mentioned on the science curriculum, most of our kids had gone through and done the milk jug rafts in there, learning. Swimming lessons, our family rented the pool for pool parties for the kids when they were younger. We've used the pool, I would say, a little more than some others on the board may have used, but that was our family and our choice. And I see that as a critical part of development. And I also know that I see what in our district with the Splash Island pad has done in Rhode Island with wanting to bring water and that access in the summer months to the community and to the kids in Rhode Island in our school district. And granted, that's an outdoor facility. How can we, as a bold community, promote the use for those kids, not only in the summer months, but year round? And this would be a great way and a part of our commitment to the students in the community to do that. And it is an asset. It's a little more tangible. I'm also going to point out, and it was brought up by a few other people on the board here, our marketing and promotion has not been outstanding on the pool. And when I say we, I'm talking us as a school district, I'm talking the city of Olivia and the pool board. We need to do a better job. And that needs to be a concerted effort going forward with my support of this, that we need to work better at communicating what's out there, working to bring in from Redwood Falls and people to the south of the district who do not have a indoor pool anywhere to the south of us. How can we promote and bring them in to use the facility? Now, our closest indoor pools are in Granite Falls, in Wilmer. And my understanding in Wilmer, you have 2 indoor pools, the Y, which is a smaller pool than what we have here in our building, and at the Wilmer Middle School in the Wilmer School District. And then Hutchinson has an indoor pool. Now, I know Hutchinson, their wrestling program, they're utilizing the pool once a week for their practices with the Hutchinson swimming program. And someone had brought that up earlier, that our wrestling program had gone in and used the pool before they went to sections this last Saturday for a practice.
Can I add to that, Todd?
Yeah.
Years ago when I was at the pool, the track team, because of inclement weather, could not practice outside. Conditioned at the pool.
Injuries.
Yeah.
Cross country does as well. Yeah, they both have utilized the pool.
Yep. So with that said, I am in favor of the continued financial support for the pool because I do think it's a good place to put our money. And promote overall well-being. Plus, it's an area of community ed and adults that we're reaching out to. And that's part of our mission as well,
For community.
for community. Yep,
See, I'm looking at it from the school side, so.
yep. But that's part of our mission is school is.
I think the pool gets used by the community way more than it does at school.
So, any other discussion or points anyone wants to bring up? It's a good discussion.
I think we just really have to make sure that we can start turning around. We spend too much money on the pool. Our half of it is around $40,000 a year. And we just, I do think we've got to market it far better and reduce that number significantly.
And I guess another aspect, and it was on the presentation, but the fees and costs, that needs to be looked at too.
Yeah.
Can we bump up slightly and still maintain use? Are there programs we can do with season passes and costs associated with that to promote use and build in? And when we have groups of people using it, that they're paying a fair price to use it. Not, we don't want to, obviously, we're not going to, and nor is there a desire to price gouge, but we do need to, we got to look at that as part of this as well, going forward. The other key is, and you brought up the maintenance, we have the one item, the change from the piping done in 2002. There's really been no major project. It's all been piecemeal maintenance. We get this done, and like this with the rest of the school, I assume we can look at and start to build out our maintenance plan on the pool and be proactive, and we can avoid this in the future. And the city, I believe, from a financing standpoint, that would benefit them as well as us on knowing our costs moving forward. Any other discussion? I want to make sure everyone has adequate time to, because it is an important decision we're making here.
Is the school the banker of this, or is the city the banker of this?
We host the finances.
So their entire portion would be paid to us with that bond up front, so we don't have to.
That's what we would need, yeah.
That if they're staying over 20 years, but that's just for the bond themselves, you're gonna make a one lump, half of it, the payment to us right away.
Mr. Chair, if I may. Yes.
Landon, could you come up here so that you can get on microphone, please?
Landon Paternus, I'm the current chair of the Olivia Pool Joint Powers Agreement. From the city side, yes, what is being asked of us is to have a $750,000 bond issued and to make payment of the proceeds to the school as part of your construction, before construction begins. As such, as Elizabeth pointed out in her presentation, we understand that this is a 20-year commitment on our half. Your guys' financing for the school side of it is slightly different, but next week, thanks to me being gone in Mexico, we make our decision on this at the same time. And we are looking at this as a 20-year commitment that we're making going forward for the residents of our community and surrounding partners as well. So not saying that it's passing, I cannot speak for my colleagues, but that's how we're viewing this and moving forward, operating as of. So if there are any other questions about city council, I'll do my best.
No, just on that side. Thank you for stepping forward and answering.
Thank you.
Any other questions by anyone? Any other questions? Okay. Hearing no other questions, then we're going to close out of item J. And we're gonna move to item K, which should be the resolution on support of the pool upgrades. This is enclosure 13 in our packet, and it's a resolution, so I'll read it and we'll go forward. Member
Benson.
Benson introduced the following resolution and moved its adoption. Resolution for continued support for the swimming pool. Whereas Bold Independent School District number 2534 recognizes the integral role that the swimming pool plays in promoting physical fitness, aquatic education, and community well-being. And whereas the swimming pool has been a valuable asset for both students and community members, offering a safe and accessible space for swimming lessons, water-based activities, and organized events. And whereas the ongoing maintenance and support of the swimming pool align with the district's commitment to fostering a healthy and active lifestyle among its students and the broader community, and whereas the positive impact of the swimming pool on the physical and mental well-being of individuals in our community is evident. The motion for adoption of this foregoing resolution was duly seconded by member Klaus. And upon vote being taken thereon, the following voted in favor thereof. So this has to be a voice vote. Member Peppel.
Aye.
Member Benson.
Aye.
Member Klaus.
Aye.
Member Sheehan
Aye.
is an A. Member Frank is an aye. And Member Bowen is absent. So we have 4 members voting in favor, 1 member against, and 1 member absent. And this resolution is declared adopted today, February 26, 2024, and passes. Okay, thank you, everyone. All right, item L, that would be the review of the school calendar and discussion. I don't know how much more discussion we have after the time we spent during Brett's report on it.
Yeah, take a look at it. If you have questions, as always, email me. I will get back to all of you with the answers. Our goal every year is to present the calendar flawless, and it never happens. I would never be so foolish as to guarantee that there aren't any errors in it, because I did that once and it backfired immediately.
Stop looking at me.
I'm turning red right now, remembering that. So take the month and go through it. All right.
And as we mentioned in Brett's presentation, this is going to be up on the March meeting as an agenda item for approval to look at. So take time to look at it carefully, please. Okay, anything else on it before we move on? Okay, that concludes new business. Let's move on to section 11. That would be to adopt a resolution to acknowledge and accept gifts, grants, and bequests. So this will be enclosure number 13 in the packet. With that, member
Todd, it would be enclosure 14.
Benson.
14, I'm sorry, enclosure 14.
Benson.
Member Benson introduced the following resolution and moved its adoption. Whereas Saunders Merton Schmitz PA has generously donated $100 to the Boulder Robotics, whereas Sheehan's Gas Company has generously donated $500 to the Boulder Robotics, whereas Keith Scott Agency Incorporated has generously donated $100 to the Bold Robotics, whereas Rhode Island Lions Club has generously donated $1,000 to the Bold Robotics, whereas Big Stone Therapies has generously donated $250 to the Bold Robotics, whereas Kibble Equipment has generously donated $50 to the Bold Robotics, whereas Bowen Chiropractic PA has generously donated $150 to the Bold Robotics, whereas Rural Computer Consultants has generously donated $2,500 to the Bold Robotics, whereas Citizens Alliance Bank has generously donated $250 to the Bold Robotics, whereas FM Bank has generously donated $500 to the Bold Robotics. Therefore, be it resolved by the Bold School Board to gratefully accept these gifts. The motion for adoption of the foregoing resolution was duly seconded by member Peppel, and vote being taken thereon, the following voted in favor thereof. Member Peppel.
Aye.
Member Benson.
Aye.
Member Klaus.
Aye.
Member Sheehan.
Aye.
And member Frank is an aye as well. And no one voting against, and member Bowen is noted as absent. The foregoing resolution was approved this 26th day of February, 2024. Okay. Item 12, so our next upcoming date would be the regular school board meeting at the district office at 7 p.m. Is there a facilities committee meeting
Yes, so
tomorrow?
I just sent out no, not tomorrow,
Oh.
Thursday.
Thursday.
I just sent out an email. And the main purpose is we're just gonna discuss what we've been discussing in the planning committee
This Thursday.
meetings, yeah.
So that's February 29th.
4 o'clock,
At 4 o'clock p.m.
right here.
in the district office.
Yep.
Okay. All right, any other calendar items? Okay, with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved by member Sheehan and seconded by member Benson to adjourn the meeting. Is there any discussion? Discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries. We adjourn at 8:36 p.m.
Put that on my calendar before I forget it.